Hey everybody, welcome to Crack Pack Tuesday number 92 on the Mana Leak. I'm John as always, and we've got ourselves another pack of Aether Revolt sitting here. We're going to crack this open, see what's in it, and see what we would take if this was pack one, pick one in a draft. Up first, we have Wrangle. Wrangle is 1 and a red, of course, for a threaten effect, except it only hits target creature of power 4 or less. That's not very good, even though it only costs 2 mana. Threaten effects just never, ever really get there for me. Not a fan of them, I don't really play them. Certainly never, ever first pick them, even if you like them. Next up is Bastion Enforcer, a 3/2 for 3. That's the end of the story. This is pure filler if you, if you really need to be playing a 23rd creature, you didn't quite get enough 3-drops, you can play this, but you'll never first pick it. Conviction is up next. Conviction is 1 and a white for an enchantment aura. Enchant creature, enchanted creature gets +1/+3, pay a white, return Conviction to its owner's hand. Fairly fine if you're trying to enable Revolt. It doesn't look that good, but it actually is a very nice, easy, cheap, and somewhat effective Revolt enabler. I will play this if I'm in a Revolt-heavy deck, as I did on Spiky Saturday last week. So Conviction, nowhere near ever a first pick. This should be late in the pack. But if you need it, you can 100% play it. Next up is a first pickable common, Daring Demolition. Daring Demolition is 2 black for a sorcery. Destroy target creature or vehicle. That is nice and cheap for pure unconditional removal, plus it even hits uncrewed vehicles. Solid first pick. You'll play this every single time that you have it and you're in black. Don't splash for it. It is double black, but a solid first pick if I do say so myself. More removal. Prey Upon, single green mana for a sorcery. Target creature you control fights target creature you don't control. Again, a first pickable removal spell, but worse, because you have to have a creature on board that can at least trade with the creature you want to kill, if not actually survive the fight. I would keep this in frame in many packs as a potential first pick, but it's never going to pass by Daring Demolition as a pack one, pick one, so I'm not going to include it in frame for the time being. Next up is Universal Solvent. Universal Solvent is 1 single mana for an artifact. Pay 7 mana, tap it, sack it to destroy target permanent. Also removal, but significantly worse. In Sealed, I might play this, but I'm not playing this ever in draft. Yeah, there's a bunch of cute interactions. It's an artifact. You can use it as a mana rock for improvise. There's way better ways of doing anything that you want this to actually do. Universal Solvent, not a fan. Night Market Guard is up next. 3 generic mana for an artifact creature construct. It's a 3/1 and it can block 2 creatures instead of just 1. That is not exciting because it's still just going to die and probably not kill both of the creatures, especially since your opponent knows it's there. I have not seen this card perform at all. I wouldn't be surprised if I never see it perform. Not a fan, not playing it, certainly not first picking it. Destructive Tampering is up next. Destructive Tampering is 2 and a red for a sorcery for 2 different spells. You can either destroy target artifact or creatures without flying can't block this turn. Magmatic Chasm most recently is what this effect was. I think it's called Falter Effect. Yeah, both of those are totally fine. I would like if this was instant, but, we can't have everything. This is totally fine. I would probably play this in aggressive red decks. I would keep it out. Otherwise, I actually have to kind of train myself in this one. I think I should play it more often than I feel like I should. So I'm definitely going to keep an eye on it, and I will lose to it 1 billion times over. Next up is Foundry Assembler. Foundry Assembler is 5 generic mana for an artifact creature assembly worker. It's a 3/3 with improvise. I've not seen this work. There's just 1 billion better things to be playing than a vanilla 3/3. If you cheat this out on turn 3, you didn't do anything. And you had to do a lot of work to actually get this out on turn 3. You need this to basically be free for you to feel like you're really getting there and really cheating. Not a fan of Foundry Assembler. Don't play it, and don't first pick it. On to the uncommon, which means we do have a foil in this pack. Could it be a masterpiece? We can always hope, but probably not. Foundry Hornet, 3 and a black for a creature insect. It's a 2/3 flyer, and when it enters the battlefield, if you control a creature with a +1/+1 counter on it, creatures your opponents control get -1/-1 until end of turn. It's fine. I don't think there's as many X1s as people were really saying at the start of the format. People were telling me Fourth Bridge Prowler's amazing because there's so many X1s. I don't buy that. This is still fine, though, as a 2/3 flyer for 4. Slightly overcosted, but if you are black-green, you should be having a bunch of counters and potentially wiping your opponent's board, maybe killing something post-combat and playing this is a nice upside. I don't think I'd ever really first pick it, but if I'm heading down that direction, I'll probably play it most of the time. Our next uncommon is Pacification Array. Pacification Array we saw last week, 2 weeks ago, sometime. 1 generic mana for an artifact, pay 2, tap it to tap target artifact or creature. Solid tapper ability. Yeah, you have to keep 2 up, but that's not that big of a deal, especially later in the game, which is where you're probably going to be really putting Pacification Array to use. I love Pacification Array. I love tappers. It's always going to be a potential, if not the first pick in many packs, so it's going to stay in frame for sure. Our final uncommon is Sly Requisitioner, which is not very good. 4 and a black for a creature, human artificer, 2/2 with improvise. Whenever a non-token artifact you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, create a 1/1 colorless servo token. That's not a great effect, and a 2/2 for 5 is horrible, and cheating this out with improvise is not getting you much. I don't think this card's really playable. I've yet to see it go off. I don't think I ever will. Get out of frame. Our rare, and I sneaked a peek, our first rare is Spire of Industry. It's a land. Tap it to add colorless to your mana pool. That doesn't help us. We would not play that card, in this format anyways. Tap, pay 1 life, add mana of any color to your mana pool. Activate this ability only if you control an artifact. I don't think there's really a 4 or 5 color good stuff card, or sort of deck archetype in this format outside of playing base green, in which case you already have access to all the mana you could ever want. You don't really need this card. I don't see a reason to ever really be playing Spire of Industry in limited, so not in the question. Our second foil non-masterpiece rare isn't very good. Pia's Revolution, it's an enchantment for 2 and a red. Whenever a non-token artifact is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, return that card to your hand unless target opponent has Pia's Revolution deal 3 damage to him or her. Yeah, I tried this briefly in one of my pre-releases, just in some fun games on the side. It doesn't really work. It doesn't really do anything. The odds of you having artifacts that are so good to recur and that your opponent isn't okay paying 3 life for just isn't that high. There's not that high amount. You're not going to have a huge amount in your deck. So I don't think you can ever really go off with this card, and it's certainly not in the first pick question. So here we are, unconditional removal or a tapper that goes in every single deck you'll ever play ever. I think the easy pick here is the Pacification Array. Pacification Array, along with Untethered, Express, and Ridgescale Tusker, is going to make Crack-a-Packs kind of suck a little bit. Because if they're in the packs, they are the picks. Guaranteed, no questions asked, ever. If it wasn't in the pack, of course, I'd be going with the Daring Demolition, but it is, so that's the pick. Let me know if that was going to be your pick in the comments below, and if it wasn't, tell me why, because I don't necessarily agree with you. Daring Demolition would have obviously, well, I'm not sure about obviously. Let me know what your pick would have been if the Pacification Array wasn't there in the comments below. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you can find me on Twitter at TheManaLeak. That's L-E-E-K, like the vegetable, not the card. You can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/TheManaLeak, twitch.tv/TheManaLeak, and patreon.com/TheManaLeak if you want to become a backer there and work your way towards winning, or not winning, but earning one of these playmats. You can check out Patreon for details there. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, let me know. Otherwise, see you all next time.